Maximalism 3, self-defining objects. So today we're going to talk about another aspect of maximalism. We've kind of looked at what it is and how it manifests in the culture, and then its relationship to psychology, and now we're talking about items. So self-defining objects, they're also related to psychology. They are things that we surround ourselves with for various reasons. Maximalism also includes displays of these objects or collecting these objects. And it's basically a marker of our personality and our physical space. They can tell that the space belongs to you. This is your room, your car, your house, because your things are there. For example, if you think about the rooms in school, as you go from classroom to classroom, can you tell what teachers they belong to? Are some of them more neutral than others? The art room here definitely is a lot of my personality. There's a lot of the things that I collect and that I love, that I've displayed, and people recognize that. And based on what the art room looks like, if you were visiting the building that my studio's in, you could probably look at all of the artist studios and pick mine out. Likewise, if you toured all the homes on my street, you could probably pick out my house. So self-defining objects include items that are meaningful to you. They could be connected to specific memories and experiences, items that you prefer to use and own that you're never without, and then other items that other people associate with you, and those are visual signatures. Our items are important, and sometimes they're just what is left behind. So if you look at the image to your right, it has a collection of various odd objects. These come from a mystery of the Somerton man, who was an unidentified, very mysterious person that was found on a beach in England. And these were some of the items that he had with him. He still hasn't been identified. But think about it. If people didn't know who you were and just had to figure you out by the items that you have in your backpack, what would they think about you? What would they know or not know? So the first type we're going to talk about are items that are connected to you. So these could be souvenirs reminding you of a place and a time, like the Mickey Mouse ears from Disneyland. They could be gifts that you are given by a person and that you don't necessarily discard, but gifts that you keep that are important to you. They could be mementos, things you save because you have an emotional attachment or a temporal's time-based attachment to it. So that would be things like your graduation tassel, or items that you purchase, collect, or keep because they interest you or they're associated with experience. So you might have an absolute passion for Pokemon cards, and you might have a huge collection of Pokemon cards, and people, they know that and they associate that with you. Or it could be like a few years ago, scrapbooking was like a huge fad, and it kind of is starting to come back a little bit, mostly because of COVID culture and being inside and needing something to do. But there is a COVID culture page, a Corona page that is talking about, important things about the pandemic so that it can be saved, because this is a very definitive, unique experience for us. So self-defining objects can also be objects that you prefer to use. And there's some examples. Think about, what do you write with the most often? Some people care about it, some people don't. I super care. Some people love mechanical pencils, and when I won't let you use a mechanical pencil in class, you get all sad. Other people like the wooden ones. Other people don't like pencils. Not fond of pencils. I like my black, bold, Bic ink pens. Do or die. And markers. Give me a black Sharpie marker above all others. I use a lot of markers and I do have preferences. What type of technology do you prefer? Think about both the platform, like are you a Mac and Apple person or are you a PC person? Do you like desktops? Do you like Chromebooks? Do you like laptops? Do you like just your phone? What do you like to drink out of? Do you like to drink out of the container? You drink right out of the bottle or the can. Do you have a mug? Do you like plastic glasses? Do you like glass glasses? Do you like metal glasses? What kind of soap do you use? And other personal kind of preferences like that. And all the other items that you choose to use habitually. That means something that you use over and over again that you don't use just because it's, what mom buys. It's you seek this out. This is what, if you have money and you need this, this is what you go buy over everything else. So self-defining objects as visual signatures are things that other people associate with you. For example, this year I always wear my big white lab coat in class, and that has become a visual signature. There's only 2 people that I know of in school that always wear white lab coats, and I am one of them. This could also be a color. It could be a certain style of dress or appearance, or any other type of object that other people see it and they think of you. So you could always have Takis with you. There are people that were the Taki people. Or they had the Cheetos and they always had little orange fingers. You might have a keychain that is specific or a backpack that is unique. And people see that object and they're like, oh, that's so-and-so's backpack. That's so-and-so is the person you go to if you want a Taki. And then you have celebrities and influencers that have very distinct visual signatures, like Billie Eilish's hair. You can recognize them even if you don't see their face, or even if they're just being talked about in abstract. And then because they are a celebrity or an influencer, other people want to borrow that definition, that idea of success and popularity, and so they adopt that look. So art-wise, self-defining objects can include things like motifs, which is a design or a pattern that you use all the time, colors, patterns, materials that you work with, and they can become part of your style. We are going to also look at art made out of self-defining objects, abstract or real, where multiples of objects are presented. This is assemblage art, which is made from a collection of objects. Like you see here on the right, it's a box and it has 3-dimensional self-defining objects in it. There's collections of keys, there's dominoes, some shells and other natural objects, a bottle, etc. So examples of self-defining assemblage art. On the left, you have one that is abstract. This is Louise Nicholson. And she would collect bits of broken wood or wood that would be used for things like stairs and banisters and whatnot, because she found it interesting, and then she would make it a uniform color, usually a neutral, like some sort of white or cream or gray, sometimes black, and assemble them all together. And these sculptures are known as being hers. On the right, you have a more literal assemblage where they use Scrabble tiles to kind of spell out the theme exactly, as well as including the other objects. Another one that is a reference to a person, the old photograph. A lot of these assemblages do use more antiquated objects, and the reason for that is because they have more of a personal connection than a new object. For example, if I went to the Dollar Tree, my favorite place, and bought a set of child's blocks, they'd be new and shiny and plastic and not have this worn out, played with old look that feels a lot more personal than something that you just bought in a package. On the left, another one that is thematic. They often are. These have a series of tarot cards and a game or a dream book there, little teacup, very specific, connected, personal items. On the right, there is a mini one done in a little matchbox. So your assignment is sculpture in a box. You're not going to make anything that's permanent unless you choose. You're going to create an assemblage of self-defining objects in a box or container. This is temporary, so again, your objects are not going to be hurt or glued down. So what you need for this, you need a box or container, and you need some self-defining objects. You need 3 objects that are connected to you, 3 objects that are preferred by you, and 1 that is a signature object that other people associate with you. And your directions are to artistically arrange the objects in the container and box. Pay attention to composition and placement. Think of it more as artwork than just junk. Okay? Be precise. And that's what I tried to do with the example. It has faults, not my best work, but you can tell there's intention behind my arrangement. So for my example, the meaning, my 3 connected objects, the heart-shaped rock actually is a piece of shell, not a rock. I found it on Topsail Island. I collect heart-shaped rocks from all over. I have a mini Bob skull. You guys know Bob is the longhorn that lives in class, and Baka is the other cow. And this was a present from a student who had gone on vacation. And then I have my Einstein puppet that lives in the office that I got when my best friend and I did a road trip up through the eastern cities. And we went to the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia, which is the U with the amulet on it. And that's where Einstein came from. And it was one of my favorite adventures ever. So my preferred objects are my Bic pen that I've talked about extensively this week. The black Sharpie marker and the Orbit Spring Mint gum, which is my favorite gum. And then the signature is that photograph of the red car. I took that photograph through the windshield one time when I was driving somewhere. And it's the photograph that I have used for an icon. It's the background on my Facebook. It's my icon in all the apps for school. Is the red car. It became part of other designs that I've made for different items. The red car is really special to me. I learned how to drive in a big old 1950s red car like that. And also it shows my nomadic nature. I love to travel, especially road trips, driving more than anything just about. And those are my objects. So you collect them, arrange them, photograph them, and turn them in.